Hi, I'm Timo.
Thank you folks for tuning in. I'm Timo and I'm gonna show you something about Too Many Bones today, or everything that you can get. Now for my German viewers, für alle, die nur Deutsch sprechen, das ist heute wieder ein Video auf Englisch. Alles, was ich heute erzähle, findet ihr allerdings auch hier im Link, fast alles zumindest, schon als deutsches Video. Also keine Panik, klickt da rein. But today I'd like to do an English video. So there's been a lot of questions recently on Facebook I saw because the Cloudspire Pledge Manager went online, and so quite a few guys thinking about getting some bone stuff, which you definitely should. And we're asking questions which add-ons to get and such, and so I'll talk about everything that you can get for Too Many Bones today. Let me first say that I am not employed by Chip Theory Games whatsoever. I'm a big fanboy. I would even wear a Too Many Bones pyjama if possible. And I met most of the crew in Essen last year or the year before. So the Carlson brothers, cousins, sorry, Josh and Adam, and also Ghillie and Shannon and Andrew and so on and so forth. And everybody is so nice. It's amazing. I just love those guys. And they published my very, very favorite game. And that is Too Many Bones. And I love talking about it. And so I'll do it today. And first off, when I started collecting board games again a couple of years ago, shortly afterwards, the Too Many Bones was released on Kickstarter. And I wasn't to Kickstarter back then, but shortly afterwards. And I saw it. There was some sort of late pledge or something like that. And I saw it and was amazed by it. I love dice, I love custom dice, the neoprene mats, the artwork, everything was just fantastic. And then I saw the price tag and I thought, okay, and backed away. Because at that time I bought some games that would cost around 30 to 40 bucks, but not something like that. But it kept popping up in my mind frequently, and I thought about it a lot, and finally I bought it. And at that time I had to do my taxes still, and I knew that I would get some taxes back, but I hate doing them, and so this was kind of, yeah, come on, do the taxes, get some back then, and from that money you'll buy Too Many Bones. And today, some years later, I can say that this is one of my cheapest games in my whole collection, if you count the price per hour played. Okay, so let's say you buy a game that costs $40 and then you play it for 2 hours, so maybe twice, then that's 20 bucks per hour. And if you calculate like this, then this is one of my cheapest games ever because I played it a ton. And so without further ado, let's take a look at it. If you order the all-in, then you get everything you see here, plus a pretty annoyed postman, probably, because this stuff is really heavy. So the shipping costs, that's why they're pretty high, but it's definitely worth it. Let's start with the base game. If you don't have anything of Too Many Bones, then you would like to have the base game or Undertow, which is the standalone expansion. Differences between the two. Here you have more stuff. So it comes with 4 gear locks and that's also the maximum number of players. Bones can be played with 1 to 4 players. And so it comes with 4 gear locks. Gear locks are the characters that you play here. And yeah, and lots of baddies and lots of encounters. We'll take a look at it. So this should not be some sort of unboxing thing. There are lots and lots of videos out there. But I'll just, and I will not explain some specific things. It's just to get a general overview, the feeling of things. What should you get? What do you need? And what makes sense for you. So in the base game, you get 4 gear locks already, so you can play with up to 4 players, and lots of tyrants, baddies, and yeah, lots of encounters and things like that. And with Undertow, you only get 2 gear locks. You can still play it with up to 4 players, but then you need 2 more gear locks, say from the base game or any add-on gear locks. Undertow comes with less baddies and I think less encounters and loot, but that is just a guess. I'm pretty sure about that. And still awesome, and you should definitely check it out. But I personally would start with Too Many Bones, the base game. Okay, but still, this is awesome. It's basically the same rules. It adds some twists or some. It's a bit deeper in strategy, I would say, because you can not only play or fight on solid ground, but also on your raft with some extra rules, some 3-point baddies that come into play here with the Max faction and the Krell that live in the water. And this is also pretty cool. So I would recommend get both. And talking about that, if you think you should get the base game and maybe some add-on characters, you should definitely think about getting Undertow instead of any add-on characters. So if there's a choice that you're on a budget and you cannot, if you can get everything, okay? But otherwise, instead of 2 or 3 gear locks, there are 2 in here. And of course, they're different from those, so they're never the same. And you get some extra baddies in here, some extra tyrants and encounters. So for your money, I think this is the better deal than to get 2 or 3 separate gear locks, I would say. Talking about gear locks, the cool thing about Too Many Bones is that every single gear lock plays completely different. Of course, there are common things, but I think it's completely different experience that you get from playing different gear locks, and that is why I will say 1 or 2 sentences about each gear lock here. So in the base game, you get, first off, Patches. Patches is a healer. Everybody's happy to have him in his party. He's a supporter, I'd say. He can also deal quite a lot of damage. And he's pretty straightforward. Patches is maybe by far the easiest gear lock to play. So it would definitely make sense starting with Patches. I do like him, but I don't enjoy playing him so much because it's maybe a bit too straightforward for me. So if you're really into the game, you're looking for more challenging things or for deeper strategy. But he is perfect for starters. If you have a friend that you'd like to introduce the game to, and maybe he or she is not such an expert in board gaming, then I would definitely say pick Patches, and he or she will have lots of fun with him. So it's only judged on the complexity of the character. It's still cool. So I still enjoy playing him, and every now and then, especially when I play solo with 2 gear locks, I choose him as one, and yeah, he's cool. Then Picket. Picket is a tank, so he's got lots of shields, that he can get, and I love him. He can just stand there and baddies hacking and slashing around him, and he'll just say, well, I'll block this, I'll block that, and I also deal some damage back. That is Picket. He's also pretty straightforward. He's one of my favorite Gearlocks. By the way, overall there are 12 right now. Numbers are rising, hopefully still rising. If you know what I mean, Josh and Adam and Josh. Yeah, that's Picket. And then the third Gearlock here is my absolute favorite. It's Tantrum. Tantrum often throws a tantrum. He looks like a small berserker. You can see him here. And he is kind of a glass cannon, so he can take some damage, but he's actually pretty well at dealing damage. And as you know, a dead baddie cannot attack you back. And so he's pretty awesome with that. And then the last Gearlock here is Boomer. She's the only ranged Gearlock in the base game, and my least favorite. I'm not sure why. She's also cool in a way, but I didn't get the knack of her. I don't know. So she's got some bombs, and so you always have to collect parts for her grenades, and you throw them, and usually I miss, so maybe that's the reason. So you have 3 melee Gearlocks and 1 ranged Gearlock in the base game. Yeah, then in Undertow, as I said, it comes with 2 Gearlocks, and that is Duster. And Duster's pretty awesome. She comes with her wolf, and yeah, they fight together. She is also a melee Gearlock, and she can, yeah, also deals a lot of damage, and you can choose to upgrade her more, or to go for her wolf to upgrade him, that he deals more damage or can take more damage or whatever. And she's pretty fast, and you can start the battle wherever you like, and a lot of hiding there, and kind of backstabbing, and that's pretty cool. And it also comes with Stanza. Now Stanza comes with her litar. I think I pronounced that correctly. Some kind of guitar, but litar. And she's a singer, and she also deals damage with it. And she's way cool, but I would not recommend playing her if you're new to the game. So if you're absolutely new and you would take Undertow and not the base game, and you don't play solo but with somebody else who also doesn't know the game, I recommend getting another Gearlock that is more straightforward than Stanza is. So Stanza is awesome, and she plays her songs influencing baddies, and she can play, I don't know, Forever Mine and take a turn for the baddie hitting its allies. Or you can you can also be straightforward and just hack with your aches. But mostly she plays songs, and that needs some correct timing and some planning, and it's great playing with her. Also a great supportive character. She can heal others, she can boost others in all certain ways, but she's more on the complicated sides of the different Gearlocks, so I would not recommend starting with her if you're new to the game. That is Stanza. Then, still might come back to these two later. Yeah, while we're at it, let's give the Gearlocks a break and talk about 2 things first. And first thing is chips. There are 2 different kinds of chips, and these are the heavy ones. These are 2 promo chips actually, but this is the weight of all. Well, you cannot see the weight, but they're pretty heavy. And this is the weight of all the baddie chips here, and the Gearlock chips, and the day counter, things like that. And you have the lighter chips, and these are the health chips. Now, in the first edition of Bones, they were pretty crappy. Okay, they were the colors were changing and they were not flat and even, but these are pretty cool. Okay, these come in the base game now. If you buy it now or in Undertow, these are the standard health chips. They are cool, but they are a lot lighter than all other chips. Well, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so usually you would stack them below those units, and then that's all you see of them, and they look nice. But let's open the base game again. But if you can and have the budget to do that, get the premium health chips. Just do it, because they are so much nicer. So they have the same size in terms of thickness and the same weight as all the other chips here, and they're so much cooler. Of course, if you just see them stacked underneath and from the side, there isn't a lot of difference there. Yeah, but this is a game where you often touch the chips, you have them in your hand, you feel them, you hear them clicking, and this is so much more satisfying with the premium chips. Okay, maybe it's just me and I'm a bit strange here, but yeah, it's just this contrast to that. I just love them. I would not want to miss them. So if that's not important for you, you can save some bucks here and go with the regular chips, which are nice, which are good. But I'd recommend get the premium chips. Do that. And if you play Cloud Spire, which is also awesome, not quite as awesome, but as this, I think, but still awesome. Yeah, you can use the Too Many Bones premium health chips also for Cloud Spire and the other way around. Also, the only difference being the picture here, which doesn't really matter since they're stacked below, I think. So go for the premium health if you can. And the other thing I would recommend is getting, well, always comes with this mat, of course. Go and get the adventure map. Okay, this is on one side for Undertow, and on the other side you have it for the base game of Too Many Bones. And the big advantage is, maybe I should have prepared for doing this video. It comes with this glass thingy pip here. You can track your progress. So let's say your tyrant that you want to fight. Here it's Nebulous, and you can count. I have no idea how many steps it is. Nebulous is here, and let's say you start an open door, your city, and here you see the rings of the chips, and maybe he goes here because it takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps to get to him. I don't know, but just as an example, you put him here, and then you can immediately track how many steps it still takes to get to him, and you do not have these cards that might slide, and you always have to count how many you have. Also with a day counter, it fits just neatly in here. So this is day 1, and this is day 2, and this is day 3, day 4, and you can always see that, and nothing can happen here if you have it on this sliding card. Let's see if I have it right here. Yes, this is the day counter card. And so you can, of course, this comes with a base game and also with Undertow, and of course you can count your days like this, but sometimes maybe a die falls on it, like that. Okay, so the card is perfect. Die falls on it, or you just kind of hit it, and then you're thinking, well, which day was it? Let's count, or let's see. So this is much neater in here. Okay, I just get it. Okay, so I definitely recommend getting the adventure map. You can better track your progress, and this is a lot easier, and it's nicer, and it's more thematic than just having this day counter, which is good, but could be better. So why not having it better? Okay. These are only recommendations. So yeah, see what you need, what you'd like to have, and yeah. Let's not get to the gear logs while we're at it. You can also get these dice, not dice, but chip trays, and also card trays, and they don't come in any box, so you have to order them as an extra, and I do like them because things get a lot more organized on your table. See, you can just put your chips here, and then you have your cards, and your cards go here, your encounter cards or loot cards, and you can just neatly draw them here and discard them here or whatever. And here you can put all the chips, be it health chips or the baddie chips, of course. You can have all your baddies. So let's say this is your 1-point baddie row, like that, of course. And this is your 5-point baddie row. And then, yeah, you can play it like that and just discard them. And so this is a way to really neatly organize your table. Yeah, that you don't have all different card decks lying there. The cards here with too many bones are not paper, but plastic, so they sometimes slide easily. Well, they're pretty well used, but you cannot say it's worn. It still looks like new. But sometimes they slide because of the plastic, but not in that box. So it's definitely worth buying one. Or I've got two to have enough space for everything, and that's not everything so crammed on the table. And while we talk about extras, you can get dice trays. And there are two different kinds. One is this Control Your Dice, I think it's called. It's made of leather, and the cool thing is they all fit into the box. So you can, it's plain like that, you just fit them into the box, then you put them together. And I do use them for all kinds of games that come with dice. You have this one, or you have this neoprene one. This is only one of the neoprene ones. I think there are 5 or maybe even 6 of them out there with different kinds of symbols, different kinds of designs. There's one for Cloud Spy at least, one Chip Theory, one Too Many Bones, one Undertow, and more. I don't know. It's the same principle here. I have to say that both chip trays have their strength and weaknesses. Yes, also weaknesses, sorry. Let me just show you the neoprene one. Good thing is that the dice always fall flat no matter how you roll. It's pretty cool. You never get the dice to be I don't know what that's called in English actually. So if they sit on the side like that, like this here, like that, so that you have to re-roll them or give it a push here. It never happens, literally never. So that's pretty cool, and you can give it a strong roll, and it's still good. What I do not like about this is that the rim is pretty high, so that's good for rolling. But if you have other people sitting maybe a meter away, then it gets hard for them to see what you rolled. See, because it's so high, so they have to be like, oh, what you got there? Oh, okay. So that's the negative point about that. And this is the one I prefer. I always play all games with. So the rim is lower here, and control your dice here, your roll. So I do like that. See, that happens from time to time, but I don't care. Just roll it again, okay? Or give it a push, whatever. And such a nice sound, isn't it? Here. Okay. So these are the two. I personally like this better, but if you like the design or like better that they always roll perfectly, then go and get the neoprene one. Or I recently saw some guys on Facebook who are collecting these things and trying to get all of them, and we're asking, did we get all of them, or are there any that we don't know of yet? And so that's also pretty cool. Okay, let's get on with the gearlocks finally. Where should we start? Let's do it how they were released. Okay. When Too Many Bones, the Kickstarter was online first, there were 3 gearlocks that came with it. And let's start with Ghillie. Ghillie is a pretty cool guy. Here it's also gearlock. This is what all the boxes are. I've got Boomer in there because right now I've got Ghillie in the base game. So usually these come with the dice here, all the extra characters, and the chip that you need for them. And of course also the mat that you play on, and the overview of them, the gearlock explanation, and that's what the extra characters all come with. Now let's not talk about Boomer, but Ghillie. Ghillie is also a ranged character, and he comes with some friends of his, and these are animals, and he can also build some traps, and he can shoot with his arrow, and he's got some special abilities about that. And yeah, he's not so hard to play, not too complicated, and he's also really powerful. So if you like an easier game, you'd probably take Ghillie and Nugget. They're both very powerful and not too hard to play. Another thing about Ghillie that you might want to get, now it gets a bit chaotic here, are some extra chips that I don't find now. So, as I said, Ghillie comes with some skill dice that are animals that you can put on the battle mat and that also fight or take a bit damage off you and are attacked instead of you. And there are dice. But you can have an add-on. So usually what you do is, let's say it has, your animal has 4 health, then you put it like that and put the corresponding die on that. And then that is your ally. But you can also get the ally pack. That's a small bag with ally chips, so that you get actual chips with the what is it? The bear on it, or what? Sorry, that's a bit. I don't play him that often. So the thing is, that's one of the drawbacks of this game. You've got 12 characters, 12 gearlocks, and each and every one, no matter if I love them or like them a bit less, each and every one of them is awesome. And I would like to play them all. But it's not a short game. And so you have to decide which ones to play, and of course you'd like to play your favorite ones more, but then you neglect others and you also want to play them. And I don't have that much time to play all of them all the time. So that is for me the major drawback of this game. Yeah, so I can't remember. Here it says a wolverine, a tiger, and some sort of bird, I think. And with the add-on pack, the Ellie add-on pack, you get actual chips for them as well that you can put on the health chips, and they're not necessary at all, but they're so nice to have and look so much better with them. So if you get Ghillie, see that you also get this add-on pack. And then I also showed you Nugget. Nugget is a melee ranged Gearlock, meaning that she attacks only adjacent baddies, but have some sling stones that she can kind of load or get, and then she can also fire her attack dice, and she also has skill dice that are ranged, and she is so lovely and so nice, and there are quite a few guys, Too Many Bones fans out there in love with her, and I know why. She's so awesome to play, and yeah, I love her. She's awesome. Go get her. Nugget. Oh, what can she do? Bit I said, and she's got awesome skills. She can. It's easier for her to find better loot, or she can look at more loot and then decide what to take. She has a die that always hits. You should get that. She can make people bleed, and she can deal a lot of damage, actually, and also. So she's all about loot, getting loot, and unlocking trophy loot chests, and also great damage dealer. She's awesome. Then this is Tink. Whoa. And there's a hole in my tingle lid. I don't know why. I think somebody's got to die now. Just kidding. So Tink is also awesome, and he is completely different than the others, and he is probably the most complicated Gearlock to play, maybe with Stanza together. So Tink rarely is involved in direct combat. He's also melee ranged, but the main thing about Tink is that he's building these mechs and tinkering with them. And what we would do when you play him is prepare some, so you unlock skills for the bots that you build for the mechs, and you can even upgrade your mechs and give them more health points. And you do that on your mat. It takes a while to build them, and then you send them out to combat to fight the enemies. And then depending on the battery, I think it is, that you gave them, they're shorter or longer in the combat, if not knocked out before. So he's kind of in the background, tinkering there, and you send your bots forth. You may have 3 bots overall. You start with 1, and then you can acquire a second better one, and you have a consumable die, which is the Spider Bot 3.0. So that's your maximum, and so there's a lot of thinking and strategy. So if you start with Too Many Bones, do not start with Tink. Go get him, and after a while you will love him, love playing him, think about strategies. But he's probably the most complicated Gearlock, and also the hardest to play in solo mode, I think. That's also not that easy in solo mode, but he's way cool, but most complicated and hardest in, I'd say hardest in solo mode. The next one release was Gasket. I love Gasket. Gasket is a mech, meaning he can't be hurt with poison, he cannot bleed, of course, he cannot be stunned, I think, or other things. So he's resistant to that, making him awesome as a tank as well. He's a steam bot, so you have to see that he does not run out of steam during battles, and if he does, he's just useless standing there. Or is he even out of the battle? No, I think he'll stay there. Man, it's been some month since I played him last. But he's way cool. And I don't like the color of his dice. You can say he's got chocolate dice. You can also say something else. But he is way cool. And, well, as you can see, I still got from Board Game Geek printed out the German version of the sheets for my kids. They also love to play it, but it's a bit too hard to play in English for them most of the time. Yeah, and he's you have to plan ahead here also. Usually. You get directives for him, and you can deal a lot of damage. You can mostly take a lot of damage, but beware that you do not run out of canisters of your steam. Otherwise, he'll stop working. And then the latest two gear locks. Let's start with this one. It's Dart. And Dart is throwing darts and is sitting on this, what is it again? His name is board, but it's Picadillo. Okay, he's riding the Picadillo, and you can always choose to sit on the Picadillo on the battle mat, and then when you get damage, you can decide whether the Picadillo or you yourself will get the damage. And yeah, she is ranged Gearlock, so ranged attack, but you can only fire one attack die on any unit per turn, but you can use some agent with it. So you can throw a dart at a baddie and also a poison die, so making it a poison dart thematically here, and maybe poison die and let's say this a stunning die, and then if you hit, you just put them on the baddie, and when it's the baddie's turn, then you the effects take place. So it would be, in this case, it would be poisoned and could not use its special abilities, and then you take off one of the agents, so you get one less on them. And next time that baddie's up, the effects of the remaining dice take place, and then you also take them away. You can also put those agents on your friends for healing, for example, or gaining extra points, or even on yourself, but you always have to throw a dart. So you have to roll one attack die against your friends or against yourself even, in order to make that work. And you might know the Dangerous Darts game. For some it's funny, for some it's a bit annoying from the base game. And here you also have Dangerous Dart, but that is just the back. I gotta show you it. It's so awesome. So we have these lime dice here, and then so that is you, and this is board. And so during the game, let's say you collected some bones here. Well, let's say these are bones, okay? And then you can use one of them in your backup plan, and then you can turn dangerous. Freaking out, dangerous dart. And the cool thing is, all the dice that you have already collected, this is wrong of course, but let's say it's like that, they stay here. And even your, let's say you got 1 extra health and 3 extra attack, wouldn't make sense, but let's say it's like that, and you turn it around, they also stay there. Okay, and now you can just discard them one by one, and for every one that you pull off, you can you can move with Dart on the battle mat up to 2 spaces and deal some true damage. And the thing is that every attack die that Dart throws gets exhausted, in contrast to the other Gearlocks. And this is way going dangerous to get them back. So whenever you take a die out here and moving her, you can get attack die back, or if you happen to land on a space that with a die that you have but that is already exhausted, let's say you on the real battle mat you will stand here, then you can also take the 5 back, and then you turn back around, and then you got all these dice back, and also the attack dice unexhausted. So it's pretty cool to have that. You have to plan on that. And also, if board was KO'd before, you get him back to ride on him during the dangerous darts phase. Yeah, I don't want to explain too much here. I was asked to do a dart video, just like I did with the lab rats that you can find on this channel here. I'd probably do that. I thought that Shannon already did a video of Dart on the official Chip Theory Games channel, but obviously not, I don't know, or maybe it was very early version, I don't know. So next week maybe I'll also explain Dart, that you see what you get there. And I also did that with the lab rats. They're a bit different from the other Gearlocks. They're all different, but here the thing is that you have 4 that count as one Gearlock, and there the lab rats are interns actually, so they got everything is smaller with them. So here you got the skill dice, and you only have 3 active slots and no locked slots, and things like that. And they share a common pool of awesome looking dice that you can train, but that you can also lose when you have malfunctions. And it's very tactic to play with them. Again, I would not recommend playing them if it's your first game of Bones. You would get confused, but I definitely recommend checking them out. They are in my top 3, I think, maybe top 5, top 3 of Gearlocks. They are awesome. If you want to know more about them, you also have 1 ranged character here and 3 melee characters, and they're really awesome. Go check out my other video if you'd like to know more about them, and there I explain in detail what they're all about and how they function. So that's actually kind of funny. When the Splice Dice Kickstarter was released, I saw them and there was almost no information about them whatsoever. Okay, all it said was kind of, yeah, these are the lab rats, they're interns, and we're working on them, but they're gonna be cool. And I trust these guys so much in everything they do, and it's too many bones, so I just needed it, and I got it. And my expectations weren't that high, but when the 2 here came, like 2 weeks ago, maybe 3, my wife played Dart and I played the lab rats, and I totally fell in love. They are so awesome. They give you so much tactical depth, and they're so cool. As I said, do not start with them, but do get them. Now I told you with Tink and Stanza and the lab rats that you should not start with them. What should you start with? Start with Patches, and also with Picket. Boomer might be a good choice for a start. You can play with Ghillie, probably, or Nugget is pretty good to start with. Then next, in terms of complexity, I'd say come Tantrum, which is my favorite, and Gasket, who I also love dearly. Next up, I'd say is Dart and the Lab Rats, and then come Tink, and also Tink may be the most complex, and also Stanza. Oh, and I forgot about Duster. Duster is somewhere in the middle, I'd say. Somewhere next to Tantrum, maybe a bit more complex than Tantrum, but there's no problem at all to start off with Duster. I also enjoy playing her so much, and she's not that complicated at all. The good thing about the game, by the way, is that the basic gameplay is very easy. It's very straightforward. There's not much you can do wrong. Although it's a rather complex game, the basic game is really easy. The complexity comes with the gear locks. And if you use less complex gear locks, like, let's say, Patches and Picket, then the whole game is not that complex at all. It is to a certain degree, of course. It's a game for experts, I think, or at least people that played some games or that did not, but love the idea of getting involved in a game and give it a try and things like that. But if you have more complex gear locks that are neither stronger nor weaker, but just more complex, you get on a different level of fun with this game, I think. As I said, Picket is one of my favorites, but he's pretty easy to play, but I still enjoy playing him. Pretty forward, just standing there, dealing damage, taking a lot of damage with him. But I also enjoy playing more complex gear locks to see what you can do. It's maybe a good idea to play with one of those and one of those, so that you can try different things. But you can just try which gear locks go well together. Then we've got 3 expansions left, and one is Age of Tyranny. And the thing here is that the Too Many Bones base game does not have a campaign. Sorry. The games themselves are pretty long, so I think if you know the game well and you play solo with one gear lock and a short game, then it's 1 to 1.5 hours, depending, but usually like that. And if you play with Duster, who comes as a tyrant in the first game, in the base game, and so she's the longest, and play with more gear locks or more players, even 3 or 4, then it takes probably half a day or even more to play them. So I don't know if there's really a need for a campaign, but if you wish to have one, this is the thing to get. You finish off one tyrant, and then you get some bonus for your next game, and there's even a mat in it. I'll show you where you can get some scars, making the game harder. And here you can put the defeated tyrants and also the gear locks that achieved this success. And you can, it's kind of a memory. I don't know if you would like to have it stuck in there forever to show everyone that comes to your place your achievements, just like maybe hunters put the heads of dead animals that they shot on their walls, something like that. But maybe you can take pictures of that to brag about on Facebook, or if you have real friends, maybe you can do that. So this is the main thing about this. The campaign mode. And another thing that comes with this box is new encounters. So you have encounters. So every round of Too Many Bones is 1 day, and every day something happens, and that is the encounter card that you read with a little story on it. And it used to be that in the base game, the first 3 days were always the same. Okay, always the same story, that you started off in your town, and always the same options. And it was made so that you could upgrade your gear lock a bit and configure it before starting the actual game. Okay, so it's kind of a starting phase within the game, that it's not like, well, you've got 5 training points and 2 loot, and now see what you do, and now the game starts. But to include that into the game, which is pretty cool, I think. But after a while, being such a cool game, such a success, people play the first 3 days over and over again and want to have something else, some variability here. And this is where Age of Tyranny comes into play. You've got new 1 to 3 day encounter cards, so that the story is always a bit different. Of course, if you have Undertow, there are also different cards for the first days. But if you don't and get Age of Tyranny, that's the second cool thing about Age of Tyranny. Then you have 40 days in Daelore. Daelore being the country where the whole thing takes place. And in 40 days in Daelore, you get new encounter cards with new story. You get new baddies, so that you have more variety, playing different kinds of baddies, and also new baddies. So it's not more of the old type of baddies, but new cards with new abilities that they have. As you can see here, Frenzy, Cunning, Recover. It's also new here, I think. It's in Undertow, you also have Recover, but not in the base game. Thick Skin you do have. So new baddies, even with new skills that they have. So this one is more variability because of more baddies, more encounters, and more Tyrant encounter cards. So you always have 1, 2, or 3 encounter cards for each Tyrant. And if there's one Tyrant that you like, especially like, and you play him over and over again, you will always encounter the same Tyrant cards. And here you got more variability, but by adding new cards for that also. And last but not least is Splice Dice. And I'm so sorry, but there's not much I can say about this, because as I mentioned, it came only 2 or 3 weeks ago. Didn't have that much time playing, and the time I had, I spent with these guys, or with this beautiful lady and her Pickadillo. So I haven't played Splice Dice yet, and all I can say is that it looks awesome, like all the rest, and I can't wait playing it. And what you do here is create new tyrants. So you can create your own tyrant, that's the game itself, and you can then fight against him in the base game. So you can only play this as a single game, creating your tyrant, which is fun, probably. Usually, I bet it is. So you work as Nebulous or Nebulous Laboratory, I don't know, and you are creating these tyrants. You can put the chips and the dice in here, and then you can record it here that they don't get lost and that you can play against them over and over again, even if you put away the box. And I have no idea how this works, but it looks awesome. And I'll show you when I played it, at least in German. If you ask for it, I also, of course, make a video in English here, as you wish. So I haven't played it yet, unfortunately, but soon I will. And yeah, so it's a game of itself, and you can create tyrants that you can fight in Too Many Bones. The only thing that I did not show you is some promo chips, like this special Valentine's Ghillie or the special Sunflower Day Tantrum. I don't know when they came, but you get these extra packs here. This Halloween patches, or this Christmas Nobulus. Yeah, they're pretty cool. You don't need them, but probably want them. And there are also extra loot cards. I tell you a secret now. With the base game and Undertow, you get a riddle. You have to find it somewhere in, so the start of it, somewhere in the rule book, or maybe on the box, or in the box, or somewhere like that, or maybe on a loot card, or you never know. And then it goes on online, and if you solve the riddle, you get some loot from chip theory games, and that might or might not be some nice promos, be chips or cards, or you never know. So there are always some promotional things, or if you meet them on chip theory games on any board game convention, just go to their just go to them and talk to them. They're all awesome and nice and everything, and you definitely get a promo chip or two. So this is all there is up until now for Too Many Bones. I think I didn't miss anything out. If so, just put it in the comments. If you are seeking for some other advice, yeah, I hope that helps during your Cloudspire pledge manager to see which things you should get or which you don't need right now, but maybe get later. The thing is, I started off with only Too Many Bones, the base game, and because of the price, I didn't buy anything else, and I didn't know the game exactly. I saw a video or two, but that didn't look too promising. Yeah, well, a bit promising, but not like it's the game for me. But I got it anyways, and as I said, only the base game. And as soon as I had played it once or twice, I want to have more. I dearly regretted not getting Tink or Ghillie or Nugget. And I think they were sold out back then, and it took a couple of months until they were available again, and I got them as soon as possible and couldn't wait for them to arrive. I also very quickly got the premium health chips, and I think the adventure map I got right from the start. And yeah, so, and that's what I keep hearing from others who play the game first. They're a bit reluctant sometimes, but I've never played it with anybody who did not like it. So I played it with quite a few guys, and not everyone was immediately a fan afterwards. For some it took a while, so they thought, well, yeah, it was nice playing it, was okay, good game, but not more. But I wouldn't get it, and then they went back home and were lying in bed, awake, thinking about the game, thinking about different possibilities. How could... Do you know that? I used to have that also with good games, that you sit somewhere or lie somewhere awake and you think, well, next time I'll try this, or next time I'll do that. and why not? Would it work this way around? And that's what I love about games, and that's when a game really gets me. And this is here also the case. And people came back and said, well, let's play it again. I think it's better than I thought last time. And I thought about a couple of things, and I also want to try a different gear lock. I mean, this was cool, but let's try this. And I haven't seen a single person who did not at least like it. So not everyone loves it, but I never heard anybody complain about it being boring or waste of time. And so people liking it, and a lot of them loving it, and most who I heard who got the base game being personally on Facebook just want to have more. Okay, they say, well, it's pretty expensive, I don't know, let's first only get Undertow maybe, and then they get Undertow, and then they're like, well, it's awesome, but I only have 2 characters, I need more. And now they're out of stock, and so think about that before getting it, and also how to explain that to your spouse. So maybe you get them involved. Okay, give them patches at first; they'll be good and they love it. So awesome game. I hope that now you know what to get, or it gives you a better idea what you might go for. You might want to have more. So be careful. The quality is awesome, no doubt about that. There's no paper at all except for the rule book, which is pretty sturdy, thick paper. And there are these, the mats are all neoprene. The chips are all high quality. The cards are all plastic, so no sleeving needed here. Just wipe them off if you spill some Coke or some other things on it, or if you have this one friend who always eats chips at the board game night or things like that. So much about Too Many Bones. As I said, if you have any questions, any remarks, anything you need to know, just put it in the comments. I hope this video helps for you to decide what to get or what not to get, and see you around next time. Bye. High five. High five. High five. High five. High five. Lucky Lux. Lucky Lux.